Thanks for coming in today.
No worries, Pia. Pleased to meet you.
Take a seat.
Thank you.
Before we start, am I able to take notes?
You may.
Thanks. So, Jim, I hear you're a bit of a star sailor. So tell me a bit about it. How'd you get into sailing?
I first got into sailing when I was 5 years old, when Dad built me a boat. I just mucked around in pit water for 5 years and then started racing when I was 10.
Wow, so you've been sailing for a long time?
Yep, so I have 14 or 15 years now.
That is a long time, so you're pretty good by now then, hey? What level are you at now?
I'm at an international level, so I compete overseas, representing Australia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've done lots of different regattas all around Europe and North America and stuff.
Okay.
Lots of different class boats.
How often are your overseas competitions?
Generally, every year there's we have either travel to Europe or North America or somewhere. And
how often do you train?
generally, we train 4 or 5 days a week, and we're in the gym another 3 or 4 days a week generally. So.
Okay, so pretty busy then.
Yeah.
Right, so at such a high international level, why do you get anxious?
I think I just get anxious because there's a lot of pressure put on myself from me and from other people. There's also financial pressure. Obviously, some regattas will grant you funding, and a good result there will get you a long way. So there's a lot of pressure. I think most of the pressure, however, just comes from yourself and your own expectation.
Okay, so self-pressure is kind of the main
Yeah.
thing, yeah? And is that just when you compete?
I think, yeah, mostly. When you train, sometimes you can put pressure on yourself to improve throughout the day, and sometimes you don't quite get there. So that can also be a big factor.
Okay, so when you get pressure in training, is that from like coaches? Do you have a coach?
Yes, mainly again it's from yourself. The coaches are pretty good at not trying to put pressure on you too much. So I think most of the pressure again just comes from your own expectation.
Okay, so own expectation.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Is the impact of anxiety for you, is it positive, negative?
I think generally it's negative.
Okay.
When that pressure turns into anxiety, I think generally it's got negative outcomes. And I think you just got to try and turn it around as quickly as possible and try and turn that pressure into something else before it becomes anxiety.
Yeah, get a clear mindset, that sort of thing. Can you give me an example of a time when you were competing, when your anxiety kind of impacted you in a negative way?
Yeah, we've had regattas where there's been a 6-month build up, and there's been a lot of, we've worked really hard and we've raised all this money, and we've gone overseas, haven't gone your way, and I think a lot of that is to do with the expectations that you've laid on your shoulders, and it becomes quite overwhelming. All that build up boils down to one regatta, and you definitely feel the pressure and anxiety from that, and I think it definitely, there's nothing good can come from that.
Is that results wise or the way you actually sail?
It starts with the way you sail, but ultimately it will turn into results.
Okay.
So, you will feel like you're not sailing like you should be. That will ultimately reflect in your results.
Okay, so your results are really determined on the way your mindset is at the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you'll need to have, a kind of clear, positive headspace.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
That's ideal. And obviously it's pretty hard you're always going to have pressure on yourself, but I think it's how you can turn that pressure into positive energy rather than anxiety.
Yeah, and you sail with another person as well, right? Is he quite an anxious person or?
No, he's quite good at handling pressure.
Okay.
And I think we're both getting a lot better at handling the pressure and anxiety.
Great.
And I think that also just comes through experience.
Yeah.
The more you do it, the better you get at dealing with the anxiety and trying to turn it around.
Exactly, experience. Practice makes perfect, isn't it? Okay, what about a time when the impact was positive? How did that sort of make you feel? Well, what happened firstly?
I remember one regatta where, we had a lot of pressure on our shoulders, but there was also a quiet confidence that we knew we were going to do well. Recognizing that, and you're already starting to put the pressure into, something that you can actually use when it comes to the regatta. Trying to turn it into something that's going to motivate you in training, and really push you to improve yourself rather than stress about the outcome of an event. And so we just try to turn that expectation into, right, let's go out there and nail it. And that sort of positive energy really helps when it comes to, the first day, the first race of an event. And then once if you have a good first day, then you're obviously you're much more relaxed, and when everything's going your way, it's a lot easier to cope with it all.
Okay, so managing pressure in the right way. Okay, so from feeling a bit worked up, a little bit stressed in your negative experience, right? So
Yep.
you've said your positive right mindset.
Mm-hmm.
When you didn't have the right mindset, how do you, looking back at it, how do you think you could have handled it a bit better?
I think, as I said before, it comes down to not just on the day, but a few months out.
Real preparation.
Trying to turn your mental state around before it's too late. But a good way that I've learnt in handling is just trying to put everything into perspective and realizing that, while this might mean a lot at the time, it's just another regatta and it's no different to anything else. And you're good to do well. It's all going to depend on how you approach it and what sort of state your mind's in. For me, the easiest way to deal with it is just try and put it into perspective and just go out there and back yourself and know what you can do, and don't think about the result too much. As how you sail, how you feel, and then if you do that and everything's good, the results will come.
Yeah, so it's really just getting positive. Hey, these examples, how long ago were they?
So that was, 1 or 2 years ago.
Okay, so a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Were you at a different level then? Were you a little bit lower level, or?
Yes.
Than now?
Yes, because it were the youth classes then. So.
Is that just a different
it was
boat?
it was a different boat, and it was the same. It's the same, with world championships and stuff, but it was in the junior classes. So now that I'm in the open classes, obviously there's a lot more pressure to do well, and it's a much bigger commitment.
Training pretty much every day. It's crazy.
Yeah. So once you get into the open classes, you obviously have to dedicate a lot of time, and suddenly every regatta means something towards Olympic selection. There's a lot more expectation on doing well at certain regattas now than there ever was 2 years ago.
So with all that expectation now, are you still getting anxiety when you compete?
Not at the moment as much, because we're still doing fairly low-level regattas, and also that there's no expectation on me at the moment to do well. I've only just started sailing the open classes, so really got nothing to lose. Just going to go out there and try my best, and there's no pressure on trying to win. Every boat we beat is fantastic. It feels fantastic because we've been racing people that have been doing it for 10 years. So really, it's actually a bit easier to deal with pressure at the moment. But when we head overseas this year, we really want to do well, especially if we're going to be financially backed to go over there. Obviously, we're expected to do well, so that's going to wreak a bit of havoc with our mental state, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. So with all those regattas in the coming year, how do you feel about them? Do you reckon you'll be able to kick down with a positive mindset, get into them, or do you reckon you'll?
I haven't really thought about it too much yet. But yeah, no, I think if we can get ourselves over there and we're in good shape when we get over there, I have no misgivings about the upcoming regattas, and I think, as I said, we just got to try and beat every boat we can, and there's no pressure on us to win or anything. Every Australian boat we beat is fantastic, so we're just going to,
Every Australian boat and every other boat.
Yeah,
isn't
exactly.
it? So When is your next competition?
The next major regatta is at the end of July.
Okay.
So there's a lot of planning to do still, and there's a lot of training that still needs to be done. We're feeling confident.
Perfect. What about your ultimate goals?
Ultimate goal, I mean, it'd be fantastic to be selected for Tokyo in 2020, and we're going to give everything we have to try and achieve that goal. But I mean, ultimately, we want to be the top Australian boat for the next quad. And if we can do that, life's going to be a lot easier for us to get selected for the next games. So that's our goal at the moment, and obviously just keep enjoying it.
Yeah. Well, June, thank you so much for coming to see me today, and best of luck for the next couple of years. I really hope to see you at Tokyo Olympics.
Thank you very much, Pia.